If you don't have the progress report that you have encouraged yourself along the way and acknowledging where what you're learning didn't work in your hands that day, and you say, I'm glad I had the opportunity to see this fail, because now I can go in and discover more about what it is I didn't know at the time when I took this idea. See that? Is that something that you as a child, if you watch your child try to do something, try to learn how to ride a bike, you took the training wheels off, you've been walking with them holding the seat, and now you want to let go, and you tell them, Timmy, Daddy's got you, but I know if I let go for a minute, you'll be fine. Trust it. Just keep pedaling. And you let go. And what happens if they panic and they fall down? Are you going to scold him? No. You're going to get him up, brush his knees off, his hands off, and say, hey, look, you know what? You did good this doing that right there. And you're not dead. You're not bleeding out. You didn't break a bone. But now let's get back on here and do it again. And they may fuss and say, I'm afraid. But what are you going to do? You're going to encourage them. That's what you do with yourself in your journal. You have to be a good parent in your journal. You are refining your future self. If you don't care about yourself, if you don't really love yourself, you're going to discover that in journaling. That's why these social media influencers are so fucking toxic, because they hate themselves. They are not where they want to be at, and they are looking to outside influences, their audience members, to worship them and lift them up on a pedestal, because they need that. They need that more than they need money. I don't need that, and I don't encourage it, and I don't need fucking money, and I'm teaching for free. I'm spending my Saturday morning with y'all. I'm hanging out with you on a non-monetized medium, just talking, trying to encourage some friends of mine. That's all I'm trying to do here. But I bet you probably never thought about things like this. And that should be encouraging to you, because chances are you were probably thinking about it differently and much more toxic. And the metrics of measuring what your expectations were and what you're willing to put yourself through are far out of spec based on what I just said here. Isn't this a whole lot more comforting? If you approach your learning this way, would you not agree that yes, it takes some time to sit down and journal those things? If you don't want to do that, number one, it's shining a huge spotlight on the fact that you don't care enough about yourself and your future success to even consider it. But you're probably the same person that can entertain the idea of going to college. You probably were willing, unless you got a scholarship or your parents paid for your college. You took on student debt that you can't write off, just like taxes. I mean, you can't escape it. But you were willing to go through the process of putting yourself into long-term debt on something you were not even assured was going to be a profitable venture for you. Yeah, I want to be a marine biologist. Yeah, I want to be a psychologist. I want to study philosophy. Why the fuck do people go to college to get a degree in philosophy? I don't understand that. You read the Bible, read some, well-maintained texts, and you're going to get a better understanding of philosophy than you would from these bullshit indoctrination centers. But you're willing to put yourself through that 4 years or longer if you're going for a higher degree, PhD, master, something to that effect, to get to the degree of what I'm showing you with technical science. You want to get a PhD in technical science through ICT, the College of ICT, the School of Hard Fucking Knocks, because that's what this is. We don't have campus fucking parties. We don't have keg parties. We don't throw TP over the fucking trees and get drunk. We take it serious around here. We are, if trading had colleges, I'm the Ivy fucking League of it. Okay, that's just the way it is. I produce winners. I produce people that give a fuck about themselves. And when they learn how to do this, their esteem is really high. Their self-worth, extremely high. And to weaker people around them, it seems like narcissism. It seems like arrogance. And that's just you reflecting your own insignificance because you beat yourself down. You let other people do that. They're holding you back. You're holding yourself back because you think toxic thoughts all the time. When I was going through agoraphobia in 2001, 2002, 2003, it was all based on the 9/11 attack. Like I was terrified. I had people that were not just me. I don't think I would have had this happen to me if I didn't have a wife and kid. If I didn't have that, I think I would have been like, well, yeah, I gotta be on keep my head on a swivel. It is what it is. But because I had family members that I brought into this world with my wife that are not capable of taking care of themselves, and I have a wife that doesn't look at the world the way she does today, but back then she just was like anything else. Back then we didn't have social media like we have it today. But she used to watch TV news all the time. Every time news would be on, she's watching it. And I'm like, do you realize that nothing good just came off that fucking television? And you want to constantly come back to it? And then you start doing 10 o'clock news. Because 6 o'clock and 5 o'clock news wasn't enough. Now we got to get 10 o'clock. Because we got to prep you for the 11 o'clock news. And it's always bad, toxic shit. So I was always listening to, in the background, the terror threat's been raised from yellow to orange. That's what they used to do back then. They constantly were priming us to live in fear, and it worked on me. That was the weakest time of my life where I was allowing these assholes to convince me that impending doom was going to happen at any moment. And I was being indoctrinated. I was being brainwashed, like most people back then. And we just watched it now. There's still people driving the fuck around with masks by themselves with their windows rolled up in their car. What the hell's going on? And that's exactly what I told everybody on Twitter, this very app, in 2019. Watch what they're getting ready to do. And here you go. And it ain't done. We're getting ready to hit the real show. And I would be out of my mind with anxiety if I hadn't learned what I'm about to teach you. Everybody has stress. Everybody has stress. That's part of life. Jesus said you're going to have tribulation in this world, but not everybody's going to go through great tribulation. What happens if you have a bad day in the market? What happens if you have a bad day at your job, or you have a falling out in your relationship and you have a trading account open with real money or a funded account or a funded account challenge open that you can trade and see results in? What happens if you have a bad day? What's the first thing you feel like you want to do? Men, I already know what you want to do. Ladies, maybe not so much this, but men, you want to push the button and fuck around and find out. You want to replace that, I just got canned at my job. I just got made redundant and let go. I just got a final written warning that if I do this or don't live up to this output and performance, I'm going to be given my walking papers and fired, terminated. You're stressed out now, rightfully so. But chances are you probably didn't do the things I'm talking about in this Twitter space here today that could have mitigated all that by taking initiative, being responsible, owning it, and working towards progressing and being better. Because if you journal like this, you're going to find that it starts bleeding into your personal life, not just in trading. You'll find that you'll interact with people in a much more favorable and professional manner. You'll talk differently, your vocabulary will increase, and it won't be quickly reached for toxic opinions. You'll look for reasons to talk about something good and positive because you realize the effect it has on you. So therefore, wow, I know if I talk to someone and I talk about all the positives that I can see in someone and say, hey, look, I see what you're doing. And I think that you are doing an amazing thing here. And I like how you did this. Have you ever considered this? And then you've encouraged them. You acknowledged what they did was right, and you encourage them. That's what goes on in our community. I don't see that happening in other people's community. I see a competitive, I got to be better, I got to stand out. I have a few of those in my group, and they're revealing themselves. I don't need to know what sex they are. I can tell what they are, the way they talk in their posts. They're toxic males. They want to be dominating, okay? And chances are they're probably being reckless in their trading. You can read a person very easily by watching what they put on social media. You can see their frailties, you can see their strengths, you can see how they think. And how they share their opinion about other people is a direct relationship to how they view themselves. Because they're projecting. Are you someone like that? Are you someone that's like that? You're always critical, talking about everybody else, because you're thinking that if you do that, it eases the pain, because you're not in your journal telling yourself that this is an opportunity to improve upon. These are a frailty, these are a character flaw that I have at the moment. But here's how I'm going to fix it and work towards making it better or less impactful for the negative aspects. You're being responsible with yourself. You're cultivating a proper learning environment. You're removing all toxicity. You're not inviting all of the opinions of others, even if they are loved ones, even if they are your spouse. They're not going to see it the way you see it right now. Let them discover how much a success you really are when you get there quietly. Don't talk about it. Because if you're going to talk about it, you're using energy that could have been used to study. That's time that could have been used for studying and journaling. If it's good enough for you to say it before you live it, before you have it in your hands, if you're going to say it out loud, because you hear this people talking about, I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to speak it into existence. You're not God. Only one can do that. But you can self-talk and encourage yourself. But in trading, you do not do that in social circles. You don't do that. Don't do that. You channel that stuff right into your journal. And when you have a bad day, you have a toxic day, that's a day you don't trade. But that's not what you want to hear. ICT, I don't give a shit what you say. I need to feel good. You ever see the movie Monster Ball? Halle Berry, Billy Bob Thornton. There's a scene in there where she's lit and she's trying to basically be intimate because she just needs to feel good. And that's exactly what she says in the script. Come on, I want to feel good. She's crying. I want to feel good. That's exactly what all of you are doing inside. And you're hoping that trading, making money is going to fill that. I can tell you, it doesn't. It doesn't. Every successful, consistently profitable trader, if they're absolutely 100% honest, that's not where their sense of fulfillment comes from. It comes from the fact that they have a model that they trust, that they refined, that they worked towards, that they guarded, that they had faith in, that faith grew over time. And they journaled their progress and they refined it, where they are never tinkering with it. That means they're never trying to add something or take away something. They're content with that. And that is a sense of mindset that you can't put a price tag on that. Your job's not guaranteed you're going to be there 5 years from now. You're not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. Your profitable trade isn't guaranteed in your next transaction and your clicking of the button. It's not guaranteed. But the folks that have a sound model that they've worked and refined, they don't obsess about that. They understand that every trade is a losing trade. That their skill set, that their faith-based model that they have groomed and they've isolated to, this is all I'm going to look for. This is all I'm worried about. This is the time I'm focusing on trading. I'm not in there all day long trading. Again, that's somebody that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, you're inviting the rate of failure exponentially. Get in there more than you should when you don't know what the hell you're doing. Wrong. Surgeons, doctors, they're specialists. Everybody that goes through med school are not proctologists. But in trading, everybody on social media is a fucking proctologist. They got their finger in everybody's ass, sniffing, what did you have for lunch? They're in everybody's fucking business. Surgeons, they're brain surgeons, they're heart surgeons, they're orthopedic surgeons. They specialize. They went through the same schooling, but then branched off and said, this is what I'm doing. What did they do? What did they do? Do you think that they were fucking journaling and studying feet? If they're going to be a brain surgeon? They want to know everything about the foot and the anatomy, the nerve endings of a foot, when they're studying the brain or the heart or any other, a gastric surgeon. No. They reduce their focus in on one specific task. Their model as a surgeon is that they have to know exactly how they're going to cut and engage the human body for the purposes of helping this particular part of the human body heal. The outcome is, if that trade, if we want to personify it that way, it's profitable if the patient is improved and gets to live longer in a more fulfilling life. And the ailment they came in to have addressed gets corrected by the surgeon's model being applied to that body. We don't go to a general practitioner when we need surgery. We may need to initially get a recommendation, like here, I'm going to recommend you go to this surgeon here. But they're not doing the cutting. They're just doing a genuine evaluation. We don't need that here. As a trader, you're that. You're the CEO, you're the CFO. You're the person that gets fired when you blow the account. You're the person that has to do fundraising to start it up again. It's everything. You incorporated. That's what this is. And you're saying that you're not interested in journaling? When every corporate enterprise has some measure of doing that same KPI measurement. KPIs, they're performance measurements. How well you're performing. What's your output? What's the results of those output? And if you don't do that with yourself, the enterprise that you daydream about yourself being, this super rock star riding around in Lear jets, driving cars that are too expensive, oil change cost too much, and nobody gives a shit after 2 days of looking at it. Oh, yeah, who cares? You're expecting people to love you because you have something that they can't afford. How long do you think that lasts? It doesn't last long. Then there's animosity. So you're inviting the opposite. You're inviting it. You're inviting all the wrong things versus you don't ever wear your wealth on your sleeve. You're content with how you live a simple life. If anybody looks at me on the outside, they would never know that I live an affluent lifestyle. They would never know it. I don't want people, especially today, I don't want to be out in public wearing a $45,000 watch anymore. I don't want to do that. Get busted upside the head. I can't look at every minute around my surroundings. Someone's going to ask me a question. I'm going to do something. I'm going to reach for a door, and I'm going to get busted in the head, and the $40,000 watch is now theirs. But you see these 20-year-olds out there, and they're doing all this flashy stuff. And things are getting hard. And what are they doing? They're inviting the mindset that says, you know what? I can't get what you have doing what you do. And then that pisses me off. So I'm going to find out where you are and take something off of you. You don't realize that, young man, but that's exactly what you're doing. In this world today, that's exactly what you're asking for. Driving around in cars, asking to get this shit lifted off of you.